Yeah, no, I know guys. They love the hoes in real life. They're not gonna fool me. They want them, and yeah, they should probably marry him, man. Get somebody whose sexual aptitude is at the level you need her to be, man. Just cut out the bullshit. Stop cheating, and you know what? To that simple point, nobody ever cheated on their wife. She's like, "Why did you cheat on me?" Like, "'Cause she's got a prayer closet." That's not why you cheating. You cheating because she topping you off in the broom closet. That's what you into. That's what you like. So we got to be honest about that kind of stuff, right? And the other thing I figured out too, guys who got access to quote unquote the hoes, they're not complaining about them. The only guys complaining about them is the guys who don't have access to them. That's what I've seen, and I'm standing on that. So get what you like. If hey man, if you want to get somebody that's what is this whole good girl thing? SM, you're gonna have to explain. We have to quantify what a good girl is. I mean, does it mean she have trash head or like I'm like no? I mean, like, what does that mean? We know what a bad girl is, right? For the purpose of this conversation, what is a good girl?
Okay, so the good girl is the girl who shows up as pure, right? Where
Okay,
there's some type of purity that's associated with her because she has a lack of experience, or there's
like Ayesha Curry.
purity. Yes, a matter of fact, that's a great example of a good girl where where basically she got with the person when she was really young. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, because nowadays these young girls be wilding out too. But, and so there's a lack of experience, but that lack of experience show up because she's also good natured, good hearted, and basically Ayesha Curry represents what the good girl archetype is. And so there's a lot of good girls out there who get shitted on and then they go and become bad girls because they got shitted on because the man cheated on them with a hoe. And so then they go say, well, why the fuck was I being our pure or faithful or whatever the thing is when you're going to cheat on a hoe anyways, cheat with a hoe
Is,
anyways.
is that
No,
because they weren't good listeners?
There's a
uh,
possibility if they weren't having a conversation pertaining to their sexuality, or the satisfying the needs in the bedroom. So that's why I say it has to be a conversation.
So, Jelvin, you good with that? I'm surprised you asked that question. We all know what a good girl is, man. We grew up with Sanaa Lathan. We grew up
yeah,
with, you know what I'm
I
saying?
needed to be
Like,
quantified to make sure we're on the
what you
same
mean? You
page.
saw, so
But
you grew up with Sanaa Lathan, my brother.
listen,
Okay.
that's still my boo. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
if she
what's the
coming,
other
if she walking
one?
here right now, I'm going.
What's the other one that was with the basketball coach? She was in Boys to Men. Damn, I can't think of her name. Nina. It starts with I
Nia
can't remember.
Long.
Nia, come on,
Nia
man.
Long. Yeah, Nia
We,
Long.
we grew up in the generation where there was a bunch of these good girls as templates and archetypes for us to know and fall in love with. The fuck you talking about, man? Now listen, I don't want to conflate some things, right? Because I don't think a slut and a hoe is the same thing, right? Because when I was listening to Karen Steffens talk, she was like, you know what? I want a man who could wake up and teabag me and I'll be open to that, right? Now, granted, because where the confusion lies is that because it's coming from Karen Steffens and we know her bodies, then it makes it more hoish to us, right? But then again, depending on her relationship status with these men that she was with, she may not technically be a hoe, but we confuse it because it's her, right? So I want to separate those two things. And because to your point earlier, Jay, about Cam, some people may think she's the wrong person to give this message, but she's been married, she's maintained relationships. And so is she really the wrong person? So I think we have to separate the wheat from the shaft, I think. Pause if necessary. Uh, I think when I right, the wheat, the shaft. I think that's a phrase in the shaft.
Yeah.
But
Go on.
or maybe I should have said we got to separate the cheeks from the shaft. That would have flowed.
Separating the cheeks is crazy.
From the shaft. It's funny.
No, but I will say this though. Because at the core of this, and when I was hearing you guys talk, some of y'all are concerned about things you have no business being concerned about. Meaning that you don't have a friend group, nor are you in proximity to niggas who really matter for real, for real. So if Shorty was out there sucking some other nigga dick, it don't matter. It shouldn't matter to you. She's probably going to be the best that you'll find and satisfy you in a way that maybe another woman would never, but you're too concerned about what other people think. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you fuck with her and she fuck with you and she fucking and sucking you good, my nigga, fuck what you think some imaginary homeboys are going to say. You know? Because I feel like a lot of times that's what's happening. It's not that these guys have information about a guy that she actually fucked with. It's like some imaginary nigga that she must have done this with. How could she do it this good for me? And so it becomes insecurities unnecessarily. Now, granted, if you're going to run for president, like Barack couldn't fuck with just anybody. He had to fuck with a woman he could present to the world who didn't have a bunch of bodies. And that's a situation where it makes sense to see what the body count is looking like because you know the people going to look for it, right? You're running for president, okay? It makes sense like, hey, girl, you wasn't fucking, you know what I mean? It makes sense to ask that question if you're running for president. But my point is that I think for most men, it don't matter, bro. Like if she's taking care of you and you are satisfied, we as men have to be more honest about how important sex is to us, either to ourselves and most certainly to our partners, whether she is a slut before we met her or no. S&M, the reason why men are not doing that is in part because, hey, I like her this way. So yeah, she's a Madonna, mother of my kids, but I still want to slut a bitch out. It's a hard thing to reconcile. And maybe you don't think so, but it really is, right? Because it's like, it really, really is. And so some men are like, you know what? Welcome to the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? And if he really loves her, she'll never find out. But the point I really want to make, though, yeah, I'm stupid. These are just jokes. Look at the
Just
tag at
jokes.
the start of the show. But the point I want to make is that a lot of times men do marry for other things, but they don't prioritize sex. And I do think sex is way more important than we let on. Right. And so even if your woman isn't doing that thing initially, you do have to train her. You do have to teach her. You do have to invest the time. You know what I'm saying? And low key, you probably have to show up a certain type of way to get her to move in that way, especially if it's not something she want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't never done anal before. Come on, bro. That's a stretch. You know what I'm saying? Pause if necessary, or maybe it's just a pun. But my point is,
Pun.
He's on a roll tonight.
No, I'm just saying. Like I heard this woman tell a story about how her husband accidentally slipped in the wrong hole, and she was devastated by it. Right, but yeah, it was on Facebook. Research for the show. But my point is that I think Karen Steffens is right in the sense that more men probably should be more open to it because they're creating boogeymen that don't exist for them for real, for real. I do think for some men this makes a lot of sense. And for a lot of us, men will satisfy, as important as sex is, I think this also shows that men prioritize other things when it comes to marriage. And that's something I think is just difficult for people to reconcile. Right? Because you'll still marry a woman because she's a good mother of your kids. You can see her being like a partner that you can trust. You can see there's a lot of reasons. And so we'll be okay, because we think we can work on it, but then sometimes ain't much to work with. You know what I mean? So anyways, I would just stop there.